Hello and welcome to the Tough Girl podcast, which is all about motivating and inspiring you. I'm your host, Sarah Williams. Today, I'm delighted we're going to be speaking to Caroline Elliott, who is a member of the Special Mountain Rescue Unit of the Fire Brigade, working in the French Pyrenees. During this podcast, we're going to be talking about her journey of how she became a British woman working over in France, as well as her journey being a ski instructor onto the Mountain Rescue Unit. We'll talk about her life in the mountains, working with her dog Fjord, as well as getting top tips and advice for you if you are in the mountains and have to deal with a situation such as an avalanche. Hi, Caroline.
Hi. How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, we're good. Good.
Where are you based at the moment?
I'm based in the Pyrenees in the southwest.
Oh, fantastic. Now, how would you describe yourself? What's your job title?
I have two job titles. I'm in French, it's called a pisteur secouriste, which translates as more a ski patrol rescuer. Which we basically are the people who open the slopes in the morning and close them and basically do advanced first aid to people who hurt themselves. So that's one of my job titles, and the other one would be basically a pompier, a sapeur-pompier, which is a fire brigade position. We do medical and fire, and I'm part of their medical dog handling search and rescue unit. So yeah, it's the system's a lot more different than it is in the UK. So I'm basically trained with the fire brigade, but I've my speciality is the dog handling search and rescue side with Fjord.
With Fjord, oh, fantastic. So Cara, it's quite strange. Like, so how did a British woman end up working over in the ski patrol rescue team over in France?
Okay. Well, actually, before I even got to France, I went down under, and I worked in an Australian ski resort obviously in the Southern Hemisphere, in the southern ski season from June until around about September in the ski school, and at the same time I trained myself up in ski patrol rescue there. And when I came back to Europe after 2 years, I, for personal reasons, for a French man, decided to move to France, and I really wanted to carry on the work I'd been doing in Australia, and so I decided to carry on in this line of work. Very quickly came up against some huge logistical problems and I'd say technical problems, because my qualifications in Australia with lovely kangaroos on the certificates were not valid in France. So I had to redo my whole qualification in the French system.
Oh my goodness, that sounds a bit of a challenge. How was that?
Bit of a challenge, a bit of a determination, but challenge has always been an element in my life, and if I don't have a challenge, then I'm not happy. So I was quite happy to take on the gauntlet, so to speak, because I was told from the beginning it would be very, very difficult, and I think I rose to the challenge and got through it thanks to my years and years and years of skiing. I had the strength to actually pass all the ski tests to allow me, after the ski test, to start the actual training, because you have to pass a technical ski test, off-piste skiing. And at that point I spoke very good French even before I arrived in France. So I did have the qualities to do it. I just needed the determination to struggle through as a female, I'd say, and a foreigner, because ski patrol in France is around about, I think it's a 2% population, the female quota in the job. So not many things were kind of laid down for me. You had to fight for them, but that's an element which I actually quite enjoy. So
we'll definitely come back to that in a little bit. So let's hear a little bit more about growing up. You know, have you always been into skiing? Were your parents taking you on skiing holidays?
I learned to ski when I was 10. My dad was never a skier. He did cross-country skiing, if that. So Mum took me away for a holiday when I was 10 into Meribel, the three valleys, not the four valleys, found a valley in between. And I learned to ski then. And I would say I took to skiing quite well because I was a gymnast at a very young age, and I had a very good muscle tone, I'd say, and also I was very used to doing physical aerobical exercise, so I loved it. And the moment I actually put my skis on, that was it. I wanted to carry on skiing. So luckily my parents had the financial, I'd say, stability to be able to take me on ski holidays probably every single year. So I was able to develop slowly and rapidly my level.
So what sort of happened next? I mean, because I went and did a ski season myself. I went as a chalet host out in Verbier, and it was one of the quickest ways for me to end up, improving my skiing, just being out in the mountains for 6 months. Did you do anything like that when you were 18 or 19?
Went actually to study German in Germany. The funny thing about that is I actually went out because I was actually at that point doing freestyle skiing. This very 80s kind of ski ballet and ski jumping, which I loved. And the only reason I went to study German in Munich at that time was because there was a freestyle team based not far from Munich. So I basically hooked up with the freestyle team to start training. And I arrived in, I think it was early on in that year. And within a month, I'd actually gone out to do a competition, and I ended up breaking my leg pretty majorly. So I ended up in hospital for like 6 weeks in Austria, but that didn't put me off. So I carried on, and I did a few ski seasons when I eventually 6 months later got back on my skis, thanks to very good sports physiotherapy in Germany at the time. Within 6 months I was skiing again, and I started working for the ski schools in Austria. And again, I did ski seasons, ski instructing for children, which I really, really loved. And Austria is a great country also. The people are very friendly. The après-ski is wonderful. So, yeah, I did a good couple of ski seasons ski instructing.
After you broke your leg, was it difficult to get back to skiing again? Did you have any sort of elements of fear?
Fear, yeah, no, definitely. The moment I actually put my skis on, I think it was in that December. I did it in May. I broke my leg in May. I had a multiple spiral fracture with pins and everything. But as I say, due to the great physiotherapy I'd had, I was very strong when I got back up. But there was definitely fear. Yeah, definitely fear. But I think the passion of the mountains and the snow, the clean air and the whole environment was not going to, the fear was not going to let me stop my passion. So I went back, and I didn't look back after that.
So how did you almost get over that fear? When did it become a point that actually you weren't worried about injuring yourself or hurting yourself again?
I think more, it would probably take a good couple of weeks, but I think I knew what had gone wrong in my accident. I was wearing the wrong bindings on my skis, and I knew normally bindings release on shock, and they didn't. So I knew what I'd actually done wrong. So I knew there was actually a very minor chance of it ever happening again. And again, due to keeping, as I said before, being a gymnast and actually doing sport regularly, my body was pretty adapted to doing that sport. So I knew that injury was less. The more fitter and the more supple you are, the less likely you're actually to suffer injury. And I'd say the whole 10 years of ski patrol, I've had sore backs, which you do when you're the kind of work we're doing, but I've never had some other major injuries, which a lot of the guys do, generally pick up injuries every season.
So for those people who maybe haven't been skiing or haven't spent time out in the mountains, how would you describe your passion and your love of skiing? What do you love most about it?
I think love the most about it is actually being in a clean, what I view as a clean, beautiful environment. Visibly, it's breathtaking. Being out doing sport, fresh air, getting down off the hill and feeling really, really exhausted and tired, and feeling that your body's worked and also your mind's worked too, and going out and having fun. It's definitely a lovely environment. Generally, people are happy when they're skiing. There can be, problems with people go skiing too quickly and things like that. But generally, you're out there and you're enjoying yourself. It's a beautiful environment, and you can't have a bad day really on the mountains.
So we started talking, or started sort of explaining about the ski patrol rescue. Why did you want to focus on that? Why did you want to become part of that team?
I'd say more the medical, the caring for people side. Ski instructing was great. It was, I think, also the fact that ski instructing, you're fixed to a group. With the patrol, there's an element of liberty, freedom. So you do your work, you set out your work, but you go off in the morning, you open your slopes, you've got responsibility. You can work by yourself, but you come back and work in a team. So you're not by yourself with a group of people. You're working together as a team to make the place a safer place, and also with the rescue, when anything happens, there's two of you, if not three people who are going to the scene of the injury. So I'd say the whole team kind of feeling would be more my element, as opposed to, taking a group by yourself.
What's it sort of like day to day, or is every day different, or how does it really work?
The day to day is generally the same. We have required to open. We're allocated a slope or a couple of slopes in the morning, and we have to open those slopes, and we're legally responsible for that slope. So if we don't mark something which is dangerous and someone skis into it, we potentially could end up in court. So we have basically open your slopes and keep going round in the day to actually make sure they're still in a safe environment for the public who are skiing on them. And then after that, there's lots of other different jobs. Do you want me to elaborate? Or
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah.
It depends what you do. As a basic ski patroller, opens the slopes, does I'd say maintenance of the slopes, putting up signs, removing the snow from the mattresses of the snow cannons, to the point of also doing, depending when people start injuring themselves, you don't have every day an injury, but in the school holidays, the French school holidays, you could do up to like 3-4 evacuations with a stretcher. I myself was trained, or still am trained, in snow observations. So I'd go down twice to the weather station and basically doing observations of the cloud cover, the temperature of the snow, quite a few in-depth observations, which can take up to about 3/4 of an hour, half an hour to 3/4 of an hour. And then I just will then call Météo France, like the weather station, the French national weather station, at their offices in Tarbes or in Pau, not far away. They then put this information into the national system, which then helps the weather forecast for the days to come. So that's done twice, at 9:30 and then around about 12:30. I also have the qualification to set off bombs for snow accumulations. So that would be even before the slopes open. You go up with your buddy, the person you're going to bomb with, and you basically go through the whole point of setting up the charge and then going to the area. And for the specific area, needs to be cleared, as in the snow needs to be removed, you bomb that area. You're given specific altitudes and specific places you go into, and you do that. So that's even before the slopes open. So that's another of my. It's not every day. It depends if it's snowed heavily, but it's not us who makes the decision. It's the head of the ski patrol who said, you're going to be called tomorrow. You need to be at work to start at 7 a.m.
The mountains are amazing. I love skiing. I love being out there, but sometimes the realities can be very, very different, especially when it concerns off-piste skiing and the risk of avalanches, for example. What are your sort of thoughts or?
Yeah, I've been working also with someone who's in this business for keeping people safe on the hills. He's more adults, and I'm trying to develop a children's product at the moment. But really, statistically, avalanches can be avoided. In the sense of actually the areas you're going into. I'm not talking about ski touring, because ski touring is actually going off into backcountry where you are really, really responsible for your own decisions. But actually in a ski area, a ski resort, that area you're going into, you're paying for a ski pass, which gives you the right to go up on the lifts. And the area you're normally going to is pretty secure. So the only slight problem with that is people tend to buy a ski pass now and think it's a bit like Disney World. You go in, have lots of fun, and nothing's going to go wrong. And things can go wrong, but I think statistically, as 9 out of 10 avalanches are set off by human beings. And also, you're more likely to statistically have an accident on a motorway, going to work or going away, than you are actually to be caught in an avalanche. The accidents you have are related to skiing collisions, but the avalanches are pretty a rare entity in the mountains when people get involved and people get killed, even though there are more and more, because a lot more people are venturing out now in their big fat skis, and they're more equipped, and there's a desire to go out there, isn't there?
Have you ever been caught in an avalanche?
Years back, I did actually also a season in Chamonix, more like a ski bum. I didn't really do much. I was meant to go out and work as a ski model, and it didn't happen. And actually then just basically partied and skied for the season. And I actually did get caught in a minor slip. I mean, it was we call it like a snow, spring snow avalanche. So like a slab kind of, what's the word? On a slab, the whole surface started going, but it was very, very minor. But if I'd been kept in it, I skied off it, I could have twisted my knee quite badly, but I wouldn't have actually been covered with it. It's an avalanche. It's actually, a wave of snow moving down the mountain. That's basically what an avalanche is. And this was wet snow, and wet snow, if you're caught in a big one, yes, but this was a minor one. But I've obviously been out to quite a few as a search and rescue dog handler, and they're pretty lethal when you're actually in them, to be honest. So,
And you mentioned your dog as well. So you do work with a dog, Fjord. How long have you and Fjord been together?
He came to me he's 7 weeks old. I went to find him, actually go and get him with the fire brigade. We drove 10 hours to go and find up to the dog breeders. And it was I think it was in November time. It would have been December, sorry, because he was born in October. And we went to pick him up. And actually on the way, I left Pau. It was beautiful sunshine, like 17 degrees. And we get up to the northeast of France, and it was a snowstorm. And I was like, at that point, I was like, this is definitely the best omen in the world. My dog's definitely going to be an avalanche search and rescue dog. So I picked the little bundle of black fur up, stayed the night, and then we drove back down, and he cried all the way back down for 10 hours in the car. And we started training him when we start our basic training is about 3 months old. So he started learning how to play, and all the obedience training came after that. And many a moment where I burst into tears because he was not the easiest of dogs to train. So, but there's a major complicity my dog and I have together. So, yeah, he's a good dog.
Why did you call him Fjord?
Because it was the year where all the dogs that year, if you've got a purebred dog, you take the year. It's like number plates used to be, I think, with letters. It's the same with breeds of dogs, and that year was F. So I didn't have many options. Well, I had lots of options, but the one in France was Filou, which basically means mischievous thing, and I just didn't want to call my dog anything like that. Everything with F normally was snow related. So I came up with Fuente, which is Spanish for fountain. I was thinking of Faro, as in, the Faroe Islands. And then I come up with someone said Fjord, because obviously Fjord, he's dark. And fjords in Norway, the water valley, obviously the oceans which come into the glaciated valleys are very, very dark. The colour is very, very dark. And I thought, well, that's a good name, if anything, Fjord, so it stuck. And he's been Fjord ever since. His actually full name is actually Fjord Ishka Baha Valdegrange. And Ishka Baha is actually Gaelic for water of life. But because it was Ishka and it was not F, I couldn't call him Ishka.
Oh.
So that's why. But obviously I never use that full name. That's on his papers.
So how do you guys work together on your ski patrol when you go out? What would Fjord do?
Fjord can only come with me in once I open the slopes, and then after that he's not allowed to be on the slopes for safety reasons, and also dogs are not allowed onto ski slopes once they're opened. So he normally would come out with me up in the morning on the lift. So he'll come up in the bubble car, and then he'll ski. Well, I will ski down. As I say, he skis down. He follows me down. And I try not to he tends to want to play at that moment, but my work is actually putting poles up and putting signs up. I have to be very careful, actually, don't go and cut his paws, because the skis are very, very sharp edges, and potentially you can cut your dog's legs, which means basically, obviously, vets and potentially very high vet's bills. So I've got to be very careful. So he comes out, does that, goes back up and goes back to his little house. He's got a little wooden house, and he unfortunately has to stay there most of the day waiting to potentially work. I'll come and pick him up probably twice and walk him, and that's his day. It's not a particularly interesting day for a working dog. They generally, a lot of the time, are kept in kennels or in an enclosed space. So when they actually do go and work, they'll be full of lots of energy. That's kind of the idea behind. The dog's not going to be spending too much energy out galloping around the place, because he needs that energy he needs to have explosive energy. And he's normally, we say statistically, you've got 15 minutes to take someone out alive from an avalanche. So he's got to work pretty quickly and do his job well, if we're relying on the dog only.
So what is his job? What is his job? What would he do? How would he help you?
There's an avalanche will be deployed either by, if it's in the ski resort, we'll be going up by the chairlift. And then I'd either ski him down, or I'd put him on my shoulders on my backpack and ski him to the area which has been had the avalanche. And then I will be employed to actually take the dog off to, if it's a very big avalanche, I will decide what zone I'm going to work. And normally you start from the bottom, because that's a preferential zone. It's like a wave. If you get caught in a wave, it will take you forward. So normally you find people in the bottom of it as opposed to at the top. Normally, I mean, it can be completely different, but that's the statistics say. So you work your dog. It takes about, for 1 meter of snow on top of someone, if you only have 1 meter of snow, it will take a good 20 to 30 minutes before that smell, the odours of that person will come out onto the surface for the dog to detect. Normally, with only 15 minutes, the dog's basically trying to work as quickly as possible. And once he smells something which he detects as a live human odour, he'll then start scratching in the snow, and his tail will normally wag and he could potentially bark. In training, what we do then is we let them go in and find the person, and they get a toy. That's the only reason that any working dog will work, is because they get the toy at the end of it. And then he pulls the person out the hole. But in a real life situation, once he starts scratching and wagging his tail, I'll take the dog away, and we'll get in a team who will start with long probes. They'll probe the area to see if they can feel anything under the snow. Probes being very long, from 240, even longer, to probe down to see if they can feel any soft or hard, which could be the person or a backpack or equipment. Then I take the dog away, and then I'll send him off again to try and find anyone else who's in the avalanche.
It must be really emotionally challenging work, as well as it being physical, but just emotionally having to deal with that when it does happen.
Oh, it does. It is definitely. I mean, but then you do get. We've done lots of avalanches, but we've been in which haven't had anyone in, but you do get the odd ones when, I'd say, unfortunately, sadly, you have a case. We had a case of a child about 3 years ago who went down. He's 16 years old with his father in a backcountry. It's not even off piste because it's outside of the ski area, but you can link it from that chairlift at the top. And he went down, and he had a lovely action camera, I won't say the make, on the top of his helmet, and he was taken by a slab avalanche, a very big fresh snow avalanche, and he didn't have any form of avalanche beacon on him. And the father saw his son be covered up by the snow, and he unfortunately didn't come out. And it was very, very difficult for everyone, because we tried our best he was eventually found, but it was just too late. And the film of these action cameras, with all this kind of, you go out there with a camera and you're a great star. I have very mixed feelings about it, because if there's a choice to be made, you need to be well equipped. You need to know what you're doing. And then we get to the other extreme. I had a case, I think it was 2 years back, of a whole family being whisked off a road because the ski resort was actually shut, and they were taken off by a very, I'd say, small avalanche, but wet snow, off over the road down a gully, and were covered up. The father came out pretty quickly, followed by the mother, and they watched the team come in to find their two little girls. I think one was 8 and the other was 4. And the dog teams, I came in with my colleague, he was there earlier, and his dog detected the last girl. He got them all out, and the little girl, who was 4, came out after 2 hours, been out under 2 hours of, basically under 2 meters of snow and under over 2 hours. So statistically, she shouldn't have been alive. So they all came out safe and sound. So as I say, there are wonderful moments when you think, all the work we do is worth it. So, and it's not about the dogs, it's about everyone working together as a team. Dogs do help, but it's the whole team working together. So yeah, so some negative moments and some good moments, and all these moments we actually learn. It's about learning from the experience and doing things better the next time.
I can't even imagine, just trying to keep focus while you're doing such important work. How do you manage to control your emotions in those situations?
I don't think you do, in the sense that I tend to, even outside of the snow environment, even when I'm on a normal mission with the fire brigade, I actually am so involved with what I'm doing. For example, in an avalanche, I'll literally be focused on my dog. And you can say to me how many people there were there. I can say, I don't know, 10, 15, I have no idea. Because I'll be literally watching my dog's actions and I'll be so focused. It's the wave of emotions will kick in. It can kick in a day later, 2 days later, a week, even months later. And that's when you need to actually kind of take a step back and see if you do need to have any form of, help to talk through your emotions, because sometimes it can be pretty full on. So yeah, no, you don't actually get the emotional wave, I'd say so, until after. And if it's a positive one, it's great, and you're kind of in a bit of an adrenaline rush for a while. But if it's a negative one, it can kick in a little bit later. So, but that's just basically it's part of the work. It comes with the work. The course of the action. So if you can't handle it, you wouldn't be doing it, I suppose. And some people live off that kind of work, and I always have, I think, lived off having very difficult situations. So.
When you are out on the mountains, you obviously you must see a lot of things. What things do you see which you're just like, oh my goodness, that's just so stupid, or why are people doing this?
There's quite a few things. We got like 3 hours. No, I'd say disrespectful behaviour is like anywhere you go. I think the disrespectful behaviour causes the accidents. Like collisions are a big one. So the idea is I've bought a ski pass, so I'll just go as fast as I can. Doesn't matter about anyone else, and respecting the people below is normally what the rules of the mountains are. And people just go hell bent on getting down the slope as quick as possible, not worrying about anyone else. And when people actually have collisions, we have cases when people get up and they carry on skiing and they won't even ask if that person's okay. The mountain is a beautiful place, and we should all go out there to try and enjoy it to our best, possibilities, and respect other people out there. Another thing which is again a bit of a nerve on the end kind of situation for me is like people who chuck rubbish. You'll have them on the chairlift. Next thing you know, they're chucking bottles onto the ground below, and every season goes by, the snow will eventually melt, and in the summer they actually come round and they collect, and it's tons and tons of rubbish. We're in a beautiful environment, and I just find it's as I say, we should actually make the effort to actually keep it beautiful. So yeah, I'd say disrespectful behaviour all round.
Yeah. What's your advice and tips for people who do want to go out onto the mountains, have fun, enjoy themselves, whether that is going off-piste or not? What are your advice and tips?
I would say definitely, if you're going, regardless of you need to, if it's on a slope, off a slope, backcountry, you need to go within your level, with your capacity of your knowledge and your skills. And when you are going out, wherever you're going, to make sure you're always going with someone a little bit more skilled than yourself. And it's not about just going out wearing the right equipment, whether it's on the slopes, wearing a helmet or sunglasses, putting sun cream on and all the rest. If you're going a little bit further and you've got avalanche safety equipment, as in a beacon, a shovel and a probe, it's useless. It's like a car. You can get a driving license, pay for it, online, for example, and you don't know how to drive a car. You need to know what you're doing. And I say, you renounce one day because you're not sure. The mountain's going to be there tomorrow. Okay, the snow conditions do change, but if you have a gut, another thing is a gut instinct, don't go there. I say the next day or the next week, even if you're coming from, say, the UK to go skiing, you can come back in a week's time or or a weekend's time. There's still those low-cost flights nowadays. You can go out and don't take risks, because once that person gets herself into difficulty, whether it's not serious, major, you actually then, if you need to call the rescue services, it can be a very expensive, and also you employ a lot of people out there. And if it's stupidity, either it might be someone else out there who maybe needs more the help than yourself. It's just thinking and reflecting and equipping yourself and making the right decisions if you can.
So Caroline, you are a British female working in France. What is it like being a female working in the Ski Patrol Rescue Unit and also being British working with the French?
I'm going to have to be diplomatic. I'm just, no. I've actually literally just picked up ordered my passport today, my French passport. So I've double nationality since December. I think it's a French French nation. I've been working in a very male-dominated environment, fire brigade, and also ski patrol, and also the dog handling. It's very male orientated, and but I've made my place. It's been very, very tough, but it's been good. It's been a good challenge. There is a difference in mentality. It's a lot more macho. But you need to joke as much as you can with it, and you just need to hold your ground, stand your ground, and stick at it and not give up. Because I even had someone who 10 years back, they said, "Oh, you're taking a position of someone who comes from the valley." I said, "Oh, is that right?" I said, "One." I said, "Okay. Do they speak Spanish? Do they speak French and English?" And the person very quickly said, "Well, no." I said, "Well, no, I'm not taking the job of, linguistically, I help the ski resort with what I've done." So, yeah, it's been a good challenge. And now I'm trying to go, as I'm coming out of the work, in the sense that I'm trying to go into more educational training programs for children, because I think that's where the capacity to learn and I say what's the word? That's transmettre in French. Transmit the correct knowledge is to the young generation, definitely. Adults can still learn if they want to, but I think it's the young generation. And each year we do something called pilopage, which is basically a day where children from the local schools of the region all come up and they learn about ski patrol, they learn about mountain avalanche rescue, they learn about the national park, the animals in the national park, so they get a whole global idea. And I'm trying to actually now do a product with this for the British children, because even though they might not be going skiing as much as the local children in the Pyrenees where I've been based, I think they still need to be able to go out equipped before they even get to the ski resorts and not rely on the ski instructors, because you can get a good ski instructor who will take you around, and you can get one who's not as effective, should we say. So that you can have fun with learning. That's what I want to transmit children. And with Fjord, he's the most adorable, kind of loving, kind of people orientated dog. So as soon as Fjord turns up, children kind of they completely fix into what I'm talking about. If I didn't have the dog, maybe a little bit different. But I think with Fjord and this film, which I've been developing the last month and a half, when the weather's been good, it's called Follow Fjord. So basically we go round the mountain explaining what signs mean, a slope shut, what do you do? I think with that, the children are a little bit more attracted to the whole idea of learning.
So you said, you had to you made your place. And obviously I think during that time, you've obviously got to be very resilient and strong to keep persevering.
Yeah.
How did you develop that mental resilience?
Oh, I have no idea. I think I've travelled a lot, and I've had to have learnt or developed a capacity to stand back and cope with certain situations, which maybe if you stay in one country, you don't travel, and you do I don't want to say 9 to 5, but you do a job which you've been doing for quite a while and you're comfortable with that job. I've had to do a lot of new things regularly over quite a long time. And I think being I think I just had determination from a very young age. And I love sports, so I kind of when something's put in front of me, if I think I can actually do it, and I think I believe in myself, I think it's a case of if you believe in something, you'll do it. And regardless of people saying no, I mean, I'll give you another example. In the Pyrenees, I went for my ski test. I actually went to see my name on the list, and they gave me my bib to do the ski test. And I actually said, that's my name, it's Elliott, as in 2 L's and 2 T's. And the woman turned to me, she goes, oh, it doesn't matter. And I said, well, it does matter. She goes, it doesn't matter. So I took my ski test, and these are ski tests a lot of people take 3, 4, 5 times to actually pass. And I actually was, had the luck and also the capacity to pass it. I passed it, and I actually went back down to see the same woman. And I said, now it'll be 2 L's and 2 T's, and I think you'll be remembering my name. And I felt very proud of myself, and I stuck my ground.
So what have you learned most from your sort of 10 years working in the ski patrol and the fire department?
It's very tricky, and I've come up against a lot of resistance, and it's been difficult. Female foreigner as well, and male-dominated environment. I think I've just learned to stand my ground and to try and believe, even when moments are tough, that I'm doing the right thing. I think you need to believe in what you're doing. You've got to believe in something and push it through, and try to go through to the extreme until you've tried, and if it's not working, then you can let it go. But I think you need to believe in yourself, and not let anyone tell you otherwise, despite a lot of people will try and put you down, especially in this work I'm doing.
So the reason you did move to France was because of a man. Are you still with the French man?
No. I say that. No, Frenchmen, been there, done that. Yeah, it was an interesting experience, and I'm happy that I actually did meet him, in the sense that otherwise I wouldn't have probably come to France. I wouldn't have done what I've done.
Where would be the best place to find more information about you and Fjord on the web? So
to come onto the website is obviously www.fjord, as in FJORD, SAR.weebly.com. And the SAR is search and rescue. That's what it stands for.
Oh, Caroline, thank you so much for filling us more in about what you get up to, the resilience you've had to develop.
Thank you very much. That's wonderful. And thank you very much for inviting me to chat about what Fjord and I have been getting up to the last 5 years, and obviously myself for 10 years.
Hey tribe, how you doing? I hope you're well. I can't believe it is the 12th of September. If you've been following along on my journey, you may know that on the 3rd of June, I set out from Springer Mountain all the way down in Georgia to through hike the Appalachian Trail, 2,190 miles. The plan is to complete it in 100 days, and I would finish on my birthday, the 10th of September. So if everything has gone to plan, I should have completed the trail already. If you want to learn more about my journey, then please do go check out toughgirlchallenges.com, and on the website you can find all the information you need about previous episodes and all of my social media links to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, my YouTube channel, etc. Next week, I will be sharing more of my experience on the Appalachian Trail, so make sure you subscribe, and you'll be able to hear all about the high points, the low points, the challenges I've faced, and what I've learned along the way. So please do come and join me next week for that. The episode will be coming out on Tuesday at 7 a.m. UK time. Now, if you enjoyed this episode with Caroline and you enjoy the mountains, go and take a listen back to Nyla Tawan, who we spoke to on the 1st of August, and it's also worth having a listen to Tashi and Nungshi Malik, who we spoke to on the 4th of July about their experiences of climbing Mount Everest. We've had some phenomenal episodes come out over the past couple of months, speaking to Ness Knight, Laura Bingham, Shu Pillinger, Tina Muir, Susie Favor Hamilton, Laura Maisie, Sam Taylor. There is so much amazing content out there. I just want to thank everybody for listening and for supporting the Tough Girl podcast. I couldn't do this podcast without the financial support of the patrons, and you too can become a patron. You can become a part of my mission to increase the amount of female role models in the media. It's so simple and easy to do. If you go and visit Patreon, patreon.com Tough Girl Podcast and sign up there. You have the option to sign up for $2 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month, whatever it is that you can afford, because it does make a massive difference. It helps me to fund the running costs of the podcast and to put out this amazing content. And I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who has been listening, who has been supporting. It makes such a huge difference. Whatever you're up to today, have an amazing day. Just get after it. Go and follow your dreams, follow your passions, do what you love, and just enjoy it. Live life to the fullest. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Lots of love.